Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Shawntas Way here today, and today I'm going to be talking about single strand knots. One of my subscribers the other day asked me if I could do a video about single strand knots, or she either asked me about single strand knots, so I decided to put everything into one video because I myself have a lot of experience with single strand knots. I have some on my hair, so it is not a stranger to me. But before I get into the video, I just want to let you know, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the upload. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get right into the video. So for those of you who are completely lost and don't even know like what a single strand knot is, single strand knots are basically the knots that are at the very bottom of your hair. So it's like those little bitty knots. If you look at the bottom of your hair, it'll have like a super small knot, so small that you're just wondering like, what the heck, like how did that even get there? That's why some people call it fairy knots, because it's so small that literally only a little tiny speck of fairy can tie these knots. Now, I said they're usually down at the bottom of your hair because not all naturals have experience with single strand knots, and honestly you normally don't get them on shorter hair. It's normally people who have like long hair who experience these single strand knots. So if you do have single strand knots, then you're probably like me and wondering two things. First of all, you probably want to know, why the heck are they even there? Secondly, you're probably wanting to know, well, how in the heck do I get rid of these single strand knots? Because honestly, they're really annoying and they look horrendous. No one else knows they're there, but when you know they're there, it just creates some problems. Of course, I decided to go with some things that stuck out to me the most. So from researching, I found that people who wear wash and goes majority of the time will have a higher chance of getting single strand knots. You guys know that I'm always wearing a wash and go. Like, when do I not wear a wash and go? Normally, wash and goes are the only style that I wear. Sometimes I switch it up and do twist outs or something like that, but most of the time I wear wash and goes. So when it said that people with wash and goes had a higher chance of getting single strand knots, I immediately knew that that was probably the reason why I have so much experience with single strand knots. So if you're one of those people who wear wash and goes all the time, you're more prone to getting single strand knots. And this is because the hair, when out, tends to wrap around each other, and you know, there's no structure involved or anything like that. So they're just like free for all, and naturally they just want to wrap around each other. Another cause that I immediately knew was another problem that probably I'm guilty of, and that is moisturizing your ends and not like tucking them. It says something about if you moisturize your ends, which I just spray water on my wash and go every single day, free for all. And you know, if I put my hair in a bun, I'll just spray my hair with water, and it doesn't really matter really to me if I tuck my ends. Like, I just wrap them around. But people were saying that in order to avoid single strand knots, once you moisturize your hair when you're putting it into like a bun or something like that, you want to make sure that you like lightly twist the ends of your hair. So you like twist the ends of your hair, and then you put it into a bun. So of course you tuck the like braided or twisted end of your hair, but apparently this makes you have a little more control over your hair and your ends, so that your hair is not like free for all, wrapping around each other. And of course, moisture makes your hair, you know, it's wet, and when it's wet, what does your hair do? Most likely it's gonna clump together, especially natural hair. If you protect your ends, then normally you won't have to have as much experience with single strand knots. Now, only if I can remember to do that, because honestly, when I put my hair into a bun, I don't really think about that. But I'm gonna start to try to do that to see if it makes a difference. So now I'm going to go on to how to avoid the single strand knots. Now, I did already tell you guys that wash and goes was one of the #1 causes of single strand knots, because your hair is out, free for all, free to do whatever it wants to do. So #1 would be to kind of minimize your wash and goes, which that is going to be super hard for me, since honestly that's like my signature style, and I just love my wash and goes. I love my normal natural curl, so it's gonna be hard for me to not wear wash and goes. But I'm willing to give it a try. Number 2 will be to stretch your hair. And when I say stretch your hair, I mean like put it into like a twist out style, and then braid out style, and then like, you know, you braid your hair, you twist your hair, and then when you take it out, it's not the normal curl pattern. Your hair has a lot more structure to it. You have a lot more control over what your hair is going to do. So that's why stretching your hair and doing things to stretch your hair is a lot more beneficial to your hair. And there are other ways you can stretch your hair. Just the like 2 things that come to my head is always braid out, twist out, because those are such good methods to do. So in that case, your hair is not curly and clumping together and creating knots. Number 3 is to make sure that you seal your ends with oil. So basically when you seal your hair, and I know with me this kind of isn't my issue, but I know a lot of naturals who do this, they just put the oil like on the base of their hair, but it seems like they forget the ends of your hair. So don't forget the ends of your hair. Do not neglect the ends of your hair. It's the oldest part of your hair and it needs love too. Is to wear protective styles. I am guilty of not wearing protective styles a lot, but I know with my daughter's hair, she wears protective styles a lot. And normally she doesn't, I don't see a lot of single strand knots in her hair, even though she has super long hair. Mainly with her, that's not her issue. She needs her ends clipped sometimes, but at the same time, I never see her hair like wrapping around each other. That's mostly because she doesn't wear her hair out a lot, and most of the time it is in protective styles. Next is to trim your ends. You want to make sure that you trim your ends. Now, I'm not one of those people who has like a strict schedule or anything, because I don't think that you should be cutting your hair every 2 weeks, every month, because sometimes you could be cutting off actual length and sometimes your hair doesn't even need to be cut. But you do need to clip your ends sometimes, because if you have too much old split end hair, then that's gonna eventually try to trigger up to the healthy hair. So it's just great to sometimes get a good old trim. Next, you want to wash your hair in sections. I used to wash my hair in sections all the time, but now I find that I'm getting lazy and I'm just washing my hair all together. That is not the good thing to do. You want to wash your hair in sections just because you don't want your hair to be all tangled up when you get out of the shower, number 1. Number 2, some of us as naturals has absolutely no choice but to wash our hair in sections. I know with me, washing my hair all together, sometimes it doesn't get tangled. I don't have a problem with doing that, but it does make sense to wash your hair in sections just because you have so much hair and you want to make sure that you get every strand of your hair. But people like my daughter, there's absolutely no choice for her. She has to wash her hair in sections, or else there will be a disaster waiting for me once I get her out the shower. So I always wash her hair in sections. And honestly, I think that all naturals should wash their hair in sections no matter what type of hair you have. And this is just so your hair isn't all wrapped together in an absolute tangled mess once you get out the shower. The last and most important thing is to moisturize your hair. If you have dry hair, then your hair is naturally going to tangle up. Dry hair and tangles and knots go right together. So make sure that you moisturize your hair, because once your hair gets super dry, you are going to be so prone to knots, it's going to be like ridiculous. So make sure that you're moisturizing your hair. I suggest that you moisturize your hair daily, but you can do whatever works for you. So yeah, those were my tips for the single strand knots. Those were the ones that stuck out to me the most. Honestly, from researching, it's not a huge deal just because that's just kind of what natural hair does. I decided to make this video for people who just want to kind of minimize it or eliminate it out of their life for good. Also, I wanted to throw in a quick tip. When you see the single strand knots after this video, and after I reminded you guys that you had the single strand knots, don't rip them, because I know with me, before I researched and even tried to find out about it, I would like see them and I would rip them off. Don't do that, because that's pretty much breaking your hair. So either cut it or try to do some of these tips to minimize it. Okay guys, that's all I have for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!